One of the earliest discoveries we all make is the existence of matter. The bruised shins we get as children convince us of its solidity. So now comes the question, why does matter exist? The answer is that if the forms were not expressed in solid substance, things would perpetually flow into each other so that no identity could be maintained, even for a single moment. Another theory is that matter has no existence at all but is merely an illusion projected by our own minds. If so, how is it that we all project identically similar images? Generations of people have seen the Great Pyramid on the same spot, but on the supposition that each individual is projecting his own material world, in entire independence of all other individuals, there is no reason why any two persons should ever see the same thing in the same place. On the supposition of such an independent action by each separate mind, without any common factor binding them all to one particular mode of recognition, no meaningful interaction between individuals would be possible. And without the consciousness of relation to other individuals, the consciousness of our own individuality would be lost, and we should cease to have any conscious existence at all. If on the other hand, we grant that there is, above the individual minds, a great cosmic mind which imposes upon them the necessity of all seeing the same image of matter, then that image is not a projection of the individual minds but of the cosmic mind. And since the individual minds are themselves similar projections of the cosmic mind, matter is for them just as much a reality as their own existence. I do not doubt that material substance is thus projected by the all-embracing divine mind, but, also, our own minds are projected by it. Therefore, the relation between them and matter represents a real relation, and not merely a fictitious one. I particularly wish the student to be clear on this point. Where two factors are projected from a common source, their relation to each other becomes an absolute fact with respect to the factors themselves, notwithstanding that the power of changing that relation, by substituting a different projection, must necessarily always continue to reside in the originating source. To use a simple example, if I want to make a box of a certain size and cut lengths of plank accordingly, if each length could capriciously change its width at a moment's notice, how could I ever make the box? I myself may change the shape and size of my box by establishing new relations between the pieces of wood. However, with respect to the pieces of wood themselves, the proportions determined by my mind must remain fixed quantities, otherwise no construction could take place. This is a very rough analogy, but it may be sufficient to show that for a cosmos to exist at all it is absolutely necessary that there should be a cosmic mind binding all individual minds to certain generic unities of action, and so producing all things as realities and nothing as illusion. The importance of this conclusion will become more apparent as we advance in our studies. We have now established some reason as to why concrete material form is a necessity of the creative process. Without it, the perfect self-recognition of spirit from the individual standpoint, which we shall presently find is the means by which the creative process is carried forward, would be impossible. Therefore, far from being an illusion, matter is the necessary channel for the self-differentiation of spirit and its expression in multitudinous life and beauty. Matter is thus the necessary polar opposite, and complement, to spirit. And when we are able to recognize it in its right order, we shall find that there is no conflict between the two but that together they constitute one harmonious whole.